So I received an email from one of you guys, one of my subs, one of my viewers, and this is actually one of the guys that originally emailed me a while back about being a noob or brand new raid leader and some of the questions and mindset behind that. And he has sent me another email, and you guys know the deal. I'm going to read through it here and then answer and kind of give some comments on what I've read through it. So he starts off with, "Hey, Adapark, new raid leader here with another question for you. Thank you so much for your previous answer. It gave me the confidence to push on and enact some changes that made our raiding go a lot better." Awesome. What our guild aims to achieve is to build people up to be great players and have fun doing stuff together. It doesn't matter that you're new. I'll help you get loot, go over logs with you, give you tips on your rotation, advice on what to pay attention to, how to deal with various boss abilities, etc. This works out great with some players who genuinely listen and want to improve, without expecting things to be handed to them on a silver platter. I've had amazing players be reluctant to sign up for our progression raid because they don't feel they're good enough yet. It's so nice when I can show them the logs and say, "Hey, look, your parses are at the 90th percentile for your item level. You rarely take avoidable damage. You make good use of CCs and interrupts, and you always try your best, even bringing potions, flask, food, etc. As far as I'm concerned, you're more than welcome to join our progression team whenever you want to." They join, they keep trying to improve, and they thrive. I'd love for it to work this way with everybody. But there's another group of players. They join a guild for the sole purpose of raiding and getting curved. In our normal raids, they barely do more DPS than the tanks. They're usually the first to die and often don't bother bringing consumables because it's just normal. They expect to be ran through a plus 15 dungeon, the Mythic Plus, sometimes even suggesting that the tank isn't pulling fast enough and that's why they don't finish in time, or that the healers should be saving them from standing in Sanguine or from 10 stacks of bursting. Needless to say, this is rubbing a lot of people the wrong way, and it often results in our regular players avoiding them as much as possible until they eventually leave the guild. And I assume this is the bad players leaving the guild, I hope. So he continues, as an officer, I try to talk to them as soon as I notice an issue, both about how to improve their gameplay and how they're being perceived, and sometimes it works, but often it doesn't. If they flat out insult people, then they get a guild kick, but it somehow feels wrong to kick people because we just don't like you. And I don't want people fearing the officers, expecting they get a kick for trivial stuff. I've been considering just having a trial period when they join, but these attitudes often surface after they've been in the guild for a few weeks, whereas they seem very nice and helpful at the start. What can I do as an officer to stop this from happening? What do you do in your guild? So, to this guy and to anybody that has commented on stuff or left me emails, I apologize for taking so long to answer specifically this one, but any of them. There's a lot of questions and a lot of comments that you guys are leaving, and there's a finite amount of time. So that's the deal. I apologize. I do want to get through all of them, and I will. Just give me time. You're more than welcome for all the answers to you, specifically the guy that sent me this question or a series of questions, and any of you guys. I love doing this stuff. I'm glad that it helps. Please let me know. That way I know that some of what I said at least is being effective. Keep them coming. Don't hesitate to hit me up about this stuff. So reading through your email, I think that you've set a very specific culture and set of expectations for your raid. Anybody who's willing to put in some work is welcome to tag along. We, your guild officers, and the raid as a whole, will help you the best that they can if you're willing to help yourself. This is obviously working for you and your group of people. However, as you said, the second group is not willing to put in that work. And, I don't care if you're running only Mythic or only Normal or only Heroic or you're, a top tier guild. There are some general expectations that I believe you as a good raider just innately agree to. Things like showing up on time, doing the best that you can, bringing consumables, etc. Doing the best job that you can. And these things are clearly not getting done by a specific group of people. If they are expected to be carried, this plus 15 that you said, or even in normal modes, they are wrong. However, and I want to make this very clear to you, if you are the one that is allowing this to happen, if you are week after week after week knowing that they are poor performers or that they don't care, if you are still bringing them to the raid, and I'm as guilty of this as anyone else, you are the one that's wrong, and your guild members have every single right to be pissed off, frustrated, angry, whatever word you want to use to describe this situation, because it's not fair to them. Now, specific to a plus 15, in my personal opinion, it's everyone's responsibility when it comes to the success and failure of a key. Now, obviously, if a healer's not putting out enough healing, clearly they're more to blame. If the tank's not tanking as well, or he's not pulling as quickly, or the DPS aren't killing things as quickly, well, obviously a lion's share of the blame can be put on, one specific person or group of people. But could the tank pull a little bit more? Could the DPS pop cooldowns or defensive abilities? Could the healer put out a little bit more DPS? Could one of the DPSers, if the healer is lacking, help them out a little bit? Can you pop CCs? Whatever the case might be, it's everybody's responsibility. So this attitude that some of your raiders have, or some of your guild members have, that the reason that we're failing our plus 15 is because the tank's not good enough. Maybe. Probably not, though. Probably not. And now, I've mentioned this before, and I think that this really applies more than ever to this situation, to this email that you have sent me. Set expectations. You, as a raider, must be pulling a specific amount of DPS. This idea that you're pulling less than the tanks, holy crap. Unless there is a specific reason that you are not pulling X DPS, you shouldn't be there. You should set expectations about being flasked, bringing food, bringing consumables, bringing potions if need be. If you can't be bothered to do that stuff as a raider, you're not willing to work to improve, why are they getting a raid invite? They should not expect a raid invite for not doing work. Let's put this in terms of real life. You go to whatever job you have, and you're not willing to work hard. You're not willing to do your part of the work. You're not willing to show up on time. You're not willing to do general things that are expected of you. You should not have a job anymore. Simply put, you should be fired. Now, it's not about liking these guys. It's not about setting this precedent that you're worried about of fear, and this worry that you as a raider might be the next one that the officers get rid of, that they're willy-nilly just going to randomly kick people out of the guild, and that raid members log in fearing that they may not be in the guild anymore, or if they screw up one time, or if they forget, hey, we're raiding for 3 hours. Shit, I only brought 2 flasks. Well, great. Now this guy's going to kick me. That's not what's going on here. What I would suggest you do is, if you are put in a situation where you have to get rid of people because they are not meeting expectations, and I've mentioned this before, if you set the expectations on the outset and you go, hey, new guy, here's what I expect from you, bring this, do that, etc., and they're not doing it, and you have to get rid of them, hey, they weren't meeting expectations. And then you can be honest and transparent with what you are doing. I've talked about speaking candidly with your guild. This before the raid or after the raid. And this is a case where I would do it before the raid, where I would go something like, hey guys, I had to kick this DPSer because, they weren't pulling the DPS that they really should have been pulling over several weeks. Their attitude was pretty poor. You guys know that they weren't really worried about improving. You guys know that they weren't bringing consumables, and they just weren't a good fit for the group. I don't, as a guild leader, as an officer, like doing this, and you guys should know that. I don't like getting rid of people. However, I need to make sure that we are all on the same page, that we're all trying to improve, and that we're all trying to clear content. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm going to get rid of you just because you make a mistake. But if you're not willing to improve, if you're not willing to work for these kills, these plus 15s and these, these boss kills, then you do not have a place in my guild. And then I would simply move on. Don't harp on it. No drama. No, yeah, he sucked. He was really shitty. No, just, hey, he wasn't a good fit for the guild. He wasn't working the way that we really needed him to. We're getting rid of him. We've gotten rid of him. We're moving on. Cool. Now, remember, your goal as a leader, whether you're the guild leader, an officer, raid leader, it doesn't matter. Your goal as a leader is to make sure that you are doing everything you can to facilitate that mission. And that mission is when you log in for raid nights, that you are going to kill bosses. And if you are not cutting away those cancerous people, you're not doing your job as a leader, as an officer, guild leader, raid leader, whatever. And you're really doing a huge disservice to your raid group as a whole. How can you sit there and say, hey, good job for working your ass off. You've really improved. You know, your logs have really improved. But on the other hand, bring the guy that you know has no intent to improve. Not cool. So hopefully this helps you. If it does, let me know. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comment section down below. Feel free to email me, whatever you guys want to do. If you like this video, you guys know what to do. If you didn't like it, let me know why, but you can thumbs down it too. And until next time, guys, I'll see ya.